Hold on tight, 'cause you know tomorrow may not bring that same thing that you said last night. Woo! Every time I find a little peace of mind, I hold on tight, 'cause tomorrow may not bring the very same thing. No, 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 said none of the right there. You that care all just for me. I'm so glad that you that care all just for me. I'm so glad that you that care all for a sinner like me. Hello, I'm Evangelist William S. Parson, and I'm here to tell you my story. Not the whole story, just a little bit of the story. I was asked to tell about when I got shot, jumped off the balcony, kicked in the head by a mule, fell off the high dive. I was asked to tell a lot of stories. And then one came up that I thought would be interesting, and that's really the pivot point. First, you have to understand I'm talking about a broken baby, a broken young boy, a broken man, and a broken future. Seemed like everything was broken. Family union broke. After foster home, boys' homes, juvenile hall, even landed my butt in prison. Numerous jail visits. I want to tell you when the pivot point. Some people would probably call me a hustler because I played a lot of things, not just one thing. I could play a few sports or a few games. I did this for a while, a long time. Then in 1979, I had my first little visit with the Lord. I didn't know what it was. Years later, I was telling somebody what happened to me up in that room, and they told me what I went through. So it's been on this trail many years now, but I still wasn't at the pivot point. A lot of things had happened, a lot of things, a lot of hurt. I used to look at myself like I was crazy, but it was worse than that, evil. When I look back now, it was surviving, I could blame it on drugs and alcohol, but there were some things that were past craze. I had to go a long time in this repentance mode of apologizing. When I see people, just let them know I'm sorry. That was at the pivot point. That was coming out of the fall. So I was going around, and I guess you would say I was still dilly-dabbing. I wasn't out there like that with the drugs and what I was doing and all of that. But every now and then, what I really was good at, people have me labeled as some things, but what I was really good at, I'd step out, and I'll get busy. If I can walk away with about 10 grand, you can get my attention. By this time, I had a couple of my children with me. And this is the second batch. I have children with different women. It's hard, but I'm going to keep it real with you. Just want to put these points in there. So as we get into the pivot point, go to church, pretty much quit getting high like that, and never could drink much. Push back on the ladies, but I was still with dilly dad. One foot over here, and then if something comes up, I put my foot over there. One day, this little girl came up to my baby girl, and she started telling me what she saw in her dad. Something got inside of me because despite of how I acted, what I did, how evil I was, there was something in me that loved my baby and my baby. But what I had to catch up with is because of their broken father, broken home, that broken man, I wasn't there like I should have been. I wasn't there like I should have. Period. Mine was on a whole bunch of other things. Some good things happened. Remember catching up with my oldest daughter, we grown with children. I knew she was there. Just didn't know how to catch up with her. Had an opportunity one time. She was about 9. Her dad, I really don't even know what was going on that night, but I know I was moving too fast to give your baby some time. There's a lot of things I'm ashamed of. A lot of I'm sorry's I had to do. But I still didn't pivot. One foot in. So we moving along. Everything seems good. I bump into my daughter now. She's grown up. She has children. Feeling all good about it. A couple of my kids with me. First batch, because there's a 20-year spread. They saw too much. One thing, like with this other, the ones that came 20 years later, after I got out of prison, oh, why? God has a sense of humor. But I had 3 more. That's a whole nother story. My daughter pulled me to the side and she says, "Dad, do you want to be alone for the rest of your life?" I'm sitting there, what did you mean alone? She started telling me things. She started naming the women. Because you have to understand, women to me wasn't hustling. I just want you to understand that at that time, I didn't see nothing wrong with it, no problem. But she did. Now the older ones, like I said, they seen a lot. They seen a lot. The other ones, man, I thought I had the hypocrite rolled down. 'Cause that's all their dad was a hypocrite. Even if I slowed down, even if I was still going to church, I had not really stopped. Dad. Oh, I was scary. I don't want to go back to no prison. I don't know about these brothers talking about I can stand on my head and do the time. Mm-mm. There's not a place. It's not a place for a brother like me. You feel me? Not for me. I didn't want to go back. But I would dab, and I was good enough to where I could seat myself far enough out the way till if something did collapse, I'm out. Until that little girl comes sitting there talking to her dad about what she see. We're not even getting into my little man over there. He sees too, is the way I was looking at it, but I still didn't stop. I was at this real estate office, and some of my friends would come in and do some secretarial work for me and stuff like that. And the people in the office with a head lady, I don't know, they had a problem, I guess, with it. So they said they sent out, called this lady that lived in Washington, and the whole thing was, I know somebody that can handle you. That's how it went down. We getting ready to get into this story. Now, this is how it went down. Well, they sent and called her. She was in D.C. and she's rolling back up into Denver because she's on her way. So she comes into the office and I meet her. She's a little cutie. She had her daughter with her. She's a little cutie too. You know what I mean? So we started talking a little bit, go out. She had a nice ride. Found out she had property in Washington, Denver, California, and Kansas. All my land. Well, we sat there and we got to know each other a little bit, started kicking it a little bit. The next thing you know, we up in LA, up in there, and next thing I know, we're riding back in California, picking up her daughter. I think I had one or two of my kids with me. They're in the beach. She's getting hairdos done. I'm just going along with the ride. I'm sitting there, thinking about this might work, you know. So we get back, drop off the kids. She has some business up in Kansas. So I was saying, okay, I ride with you. Really, I think she wanted me to be like a cover, like a bodyguard. I think that's kind of what she wanted. So we riding down, we just going down the freeway, rolling. And then next thing I know, man, I get one of them things, like jump off the balcony, come to me, that moment up in that room. That's when I made the deal that I would go to church. Something happened to me. I can't explain it right now. That's another story. Introducing new meat, a very new product for your skin. And oh, for the inside? Oh, yes, we have something there for you as well. Together, it is a health choice that I'm sure you will enjoy. Check it out. New meat. Fast forwarding through gunshots, prison, children. I mean, we're taking years of getting me to this point. It didn't happen like that. Didn't put no oil on me. I didn't fall out. Ooh, none of that. I had to learn what it is to be upright. Just don't smoke around my kids. Don't drink. Y'all come in, da da da. But their dad, he puts them to bed, and women didn't spend the night at my house. None of that. But when they go to sleep, welcome. Living a life, think that I'm fooling somebody. But the truth of the matter is, it's killing people. Maybe not like in the sense of right now. So we rolling down in her caddy. We just cruising. And she says to me, she says, she's thinking about California, right? So she said, I spent such and such a money on you last week. I said, oh yeah? I said, guess what? You're going to spend some more. Because my game has not changed. You understand? there's just the way this is going to be. So we riding down the street, and then right when I was laughing, right when I was saying, oh, you getting ready to spend some more money. Right at that moment, that very moment, I had one of those experiences again. Man, I was looking at it. It was dark. Now, it could have been light, whatever, okay, but when I saw it was dark. And I was looking at it, and all these women, it was like morphing in her face, like changing. And some came up more than others. Some that I should have married, should have loved, should have went on by my business and just went on. Women that I heard broke their hearts. But after I went through this experience, gathered myself, I told her when I get back, I'm going to quit everything. I'm not going to do that no more. I'm going to let everybody go. She looked at me. First, I thought she might say, oh, really? Really? Me and you? It didn't happen. She's kind of a fast little lady. She said, you do that, you're going to lose everything. I said, I know. So we barrel on down to Kansas City. Handle some of her business. I meet some of the things she was involved with. And she probably needed me there. You know, she's a little lady, you know what I'm saying? Somebody could have probably tried to bulldog her or something. I felt like she knew she was okay. So we drive on back, get here in Denver, and guess what? Daughter just met, we're kicking it. We sit there, I start breaking off from the ladies. The little things I was doing, I told the Lord I'm not going to do them no more.
I am really honored to be here and to be able to share as an eyewitness to the saving and sanctifying of a man that when I first met him as a witness, completely different. Not that he was a bad man, but he was just a different man. And when God got a hold of him, I saw the transformation. I remember driving on our way to Kansas. I had property out there, and William and I had been friends for a while, and I had asked him to go with me to check on a property of mine. And as we were driving down the road on our way to Kansas, I remember us talking about being saved and changing our lives. And he was just saying that, that he was saved and that he was all right with where he was with and who God was to him. And immediately I told him, I said, you act like us and you kind of walk like us and you even talk like us. But I said, William, you are not one of us. And I remember him being very surprised and shocked at that statement. And the reason I made that statement to him is it goes back to the scripture of having a form of godliness. And while William might have had a form of godliness and he understood who God was to his mom and he knew of God in terms of saving him in emergencies, that emergency God, like having to jump off a balcony, like having to grab a hold of God's hand in the minute of an emergency. But I understood that he had not come into a relationship with God. God had revealed that to me just based on the way the man that I was traveling to Kansas with. He was a man that still partook in having lots of different relationships with many different women. I'm just keeping it real. However that was, and guess what? I admit it, I was one of them. He had a very strong relationship with me, but we had no idea where God was really getting ready to take us. I remember William saying that he was done, that he was through, that he was finished. I took it with a grain of salt because at that time there was no evidence of that. But I am a witness to tell you today that when he spoke those words, we drove under the window of an open heaven, and God heard. He was serious that day. And I told him, I said, William, if you're really done and if you're really finished, do you know how your life's getting ready to change? Do you really understand what's getting ready to happen to you? Even when I said, I'm paraphrasing, I said something to that effect. But even I didn't know the weight that came with those words. But he was up for the task.
After coming back, it's like cloud nine. Then, after telling the Lord I quit and everything, all hell broke loose. All hell broke loose. Well, another episode of Where Were You? And we would like to thank our guests for this evening. Also want to thank New Me. New Me helps sponsor Where Were You? So go on and check it out. New Me /Arkway. Also, go on and hit that like. Go on and hit subscribe. Go on and hit that share. Go on and leave a comment. And if you find anyone that has a story, let me know. And hey, you bless someone today.